Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
New information coming out on Stellantis' plans to cut its workforce, a decision that might impact the upcoming negotiations with the United Auto Workers. Good to have you with us this noon, everybody. I'm Jason Colthorpe. Thousands of Stellantis workers will be offered one of two buyout packages. Let's bring in our business editor, Rod Maloney, who's live this afternoon with what's on the table. Hi, Rod.
Yeah, hi, Jason. We just found out in the last half hour more specifics about this. And one of the things is this letter came out today. It was posted on the Sterling Heights Assembly Local, UAW Local 1264. But come to find out, this is just one of many of these letters because we've also confirmed that Stellantis is now looking to cut somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 jobs, perhaps, in the salaried workforce. But Stellantis is also out saying that they're looking to cut white-collar or non-represented jobs as well. And so this is one of those things that as we get ready for the national contract, it is of deep concern to the union. In fact, the union told me just within the last few minutes that they view this as a slap in the face because car companies are making billions and yet shaving heads. They don't like that, to say the least. So let's take a look at what the packages, at least for the UAW, will look like. Again, it's about 3,500 employees, but it could be either lower or perhaps higher as time goes on. The two packages, one's an incentive plan. It's a $50,000 payment for those who were hired before the year 2007. And then for other employees thereafter, it's called a voluntary plan, guaranteed lump sum, and it's seniority based. So they have to dig into the union manual to find out where you fit in all of that to find out how much the money would be. But what they're saying is that if you want one of these, and there may be people who do, you can sign up between May 6th of this year and June 19th of 2023. And then your separation from the company would happen between the end of June and the end of the year. At least that's tentatively scheduled. They haven't decided the entirety of that yet. There are ongoing negotiations. And then when it comes to notice, they're going to be sending out packages to people who are eligible for this in the next 7 days. They're negotiating the question as to whether more than, say, 3,500, 5,000, if more people want to take this, will they be allowed to take it? And so we'll have to see where that goes. And then if you're going to be retiring at the end of April, they're saying you should now wait because you might be eligible for one of these packages and you certainly want to get in on this and don't want to miss out. So that's what we know so far from the letter and also what we're hearing from the union and even Stellantis. But here's the thing. We're coming now into the national contract, which will become Labor Day. And one of the things that we know for certain now, as Shawn Fain, the new UAW president, did an hour-long interview with the Automotive Press Association just last week, he had a lot to say. And one of the things he was not happy with was Stellantis and its CEO, Carlos Tavares. And in fact, I'm going to play a little bit of a soundbite here from Shawn Fain when he talked about Carlos Tavares and where things stand in the automotive industry.
With Stellantis, I would say, it's fractured right now. I mean, when the CEO of the company can fly over here and go to our plants and threaten our members about future product and absenteeism, but can't take the time to reach out to us and have discussion with us, that's a problem.
And so what you're hearing there is a very fractured relationship. And like I said, the UAW told me they view this whole program as a slap in the face. And so it could have larger impact than just allowing a few of the union faithful to retire with a few extra dollars in their pocket, because what it means is the backfill, or the employees who are perhaps lower tier workers taking over those jobs. That's what Stellantis wants, but the union, of course, does not. Lots to talk about. We'll have more coming up on Local 4 News at 5. Reporting live in Sterling Heights, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Yeah, an already unstable relationship, even a little more jumbled now. All right, Rod, we'll talk to you soon. Federal, state, and local law enforcement holding a drill today to test the emergency response plans near Detroit's stadiums and arenas. The drill started around 9 a.m. and should be wrapped up by early afternoon. They're testing out safety plans in the event of anything from a tornado to an attack in the downtown area where LCA, Comerica Park, the Fox Theater, all of those venues are. So don't be alarmed if you see more police and firefighters in that area today. To help keep any confusion down, they're asking you to avoid the area if you can. Southbound Woodward remains closed until 1 p.m. between Sproat and Henry Street. Well, let's get a check of the forecast, which is Warming up slowly but surely today. Ashley Barrissey checking it for us.
Yeah, so we are going to be a little warmer today than the last couple days. However, we knew there was a chance for freeze warnings to be issued again tonight. Sure enough, National Weather Service already triggered that. So come tonight, going into tomorrow morning, we are going to be dealing with another bout of freeze warnings in the exact same counties that have had it the last few nights. And so this is new since we joined you earlier this morning. So frost possible again tonight. This is the last night in the 30s for a little while. Sunshine sticks around through Thursday, but then we get an extended rainy period heading into the weekend. Look at those clouds right now as we take a look at downtown Detroit. So a mix of some sun and clouds, 48 in the city, 48 in Ann Arbor, 43 in Port Huron, and 48 in Adrian. And pretty calm conditions across the board. Westerly breeze in Ann Arbor at about 8 miles per hour. So we've had some clearing across a good portion of the Great Lakes and Midwest region, though low pressure will kind of set up shop heading into the weekend, bringing rounds of rain showers. But as we go throughout the afternoon, that high temperature will be right around 54 degrees. We have a few more warm conditions, though, heading into the weekend. Just how warm it'll get coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Ashley. The way the 2024 presidential election is already shaping up, most Americans getting a little deja vu. President Biden announcing his re-election campaign officially yesterday, setting up a potential rematch with former President Donald Trump. NBC's Bree Jackson in Washington, where the campaign trail is growing.
President Biden spoke with about a dozen Democratic governors on Tuesday to discuss his campaign messaging strategy in key battleground states. Fresh off his re-election campaign announcement, President Biden made his case to union members.
Under my predecessor, Infrastructure Week became a punchline. On my watch, infrastructure has become a decade headline. A decade.
The president was met with chants of 4 more years.
4 more years! 4 more years! 4 more years!
But former President Trump, his top Republican opponent so far, says sending Biden back to the White House would be a major mistake.
With such a calamitous and failed presidency, it is almost inconceivable that Biden would even think of running for re-election.
The Republican field of candidates is expected to expand in the coming months as the GOP unites around defeating Mr. Biden.
This man is a walking disaster right now.
Despite concerns about his age, President Biden has so far avoided a high-profile Democratic primary challenger. His allies say he's the party's best bet.
He has the capacity, he has the vision, he has the compassion, and yes, he has the substance.
Some potential voters agree.
I know people are saying that he's too old, but who else is going to be fit for the job?
Others say they are not interested in seeing Biden nor Trump return to the White House.
I think they both are very extreme, and I think we need someone that's kind of in the middle.
Voters could soon see other options. Others weighing a presidential run include former Vice President Mike Pence, U.S. Senator Tim Scott, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. They're expected to make a final decision in the coming months. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.